to do at least one of these every quarter. I know they're busy. If you can, do 2 or 3 every quarter, but at least one every quarter. If you do one of these topics every quarter, in 3 years' time, you've covered all of these. And you've developed significant soft skills. And I think that is, if I want to prepare my kids, my learners, myself for tomorrow, address this, add this to what is being taught. Weave it into your classes. I used to, when I taught the postgraduate students in terms of music, they would ask a question and I would say, okay, here's a scenario. A guy walks into your recording studio, what do you do? There's no clear answer for that, but what is the best outcome? They've got to apply EQ, critical thinking, what is the situation, how do I engage and how do I perform in that sort of situation? So those are the skills that are then imparted on those students of mine. So that is the one area. And before I carry on, Glyn, would you like to impart on us some of your wisdom? Yes.
So I have a point. Adaptability, of course, is key to sustain.
Yes.
Patience, memorization, research.
Yes.
But what I see here is about adapting with the status quo. I don't see anything about visioning or making the future or planning for the future.
Absolutely. Glyn?
It's an interesting one, as Murray said, because of the VUCA nature. Large language models and open AI, and now potentially the implosion of large language models and open AI. And what does that really mean for our futures and for how we can work through? I had a really interesting part, education and training business. How do you train and what do you train in when you're trying to work out what is going to be AI and what is not? So what is the strategic elements and helping people go through and understand how to work in this VUCA world? And it's last week, it was like being hit by a baseball bat virtually. So I was at a conference when another company presented what they were doing with OpenAI across all aspects of their business, and it was a training management firm that produced technology. But actually, to see how they were looking at the opportunities made me realise that actually I wasn't as strategic as I considered myself to be. So that led to a lot of soul searching at the weekend, really exploring and understanding what the real potentials are, rather than closing down, which is easy to do, right? Faced with this world of why does anybody need to learn programming when ChatGPT can write you a program? Right, why do I need to do a graphic design course when you can get another AI that I've forgotten the name of to do it for you, right? How do you, what does your team do in translation when Whisper AI can do it for you, right? All of these different aspects. And I found myself closing down with what is the point, right? Why are we training in programming languages? Why are we trying to train people in how to develop AI models when you can just ask ChatGPT to produce a graph? And the truth is that there's a difference between the actual skills and the knowledge of what to impart from that, because AI is never going to have knowledge. It's going to be able to provide answers. So the ability to step back and really think about what this means, what it means for us, what the potential is of these new technologies in this volatile and uncertain world is really incredible. Thinking about what knowledge can we take from this? How can my skills and my 25 plus years in this industry apply knowledge of understanding of how we can make the use of this technology? And if I look back at the early 90s me and said, as I'm changing backup tapes in a mainframe room, this is the world you're going to be. I couldn't embrace the technology of modern mobile communications, the internet, email, AI. But if you consider that that's the path that we've been on and you've got through it, and I've still got a job, and I'm still, hopefully, adding value, there's the ability to adapt and to move with the times and really look at the positives of how we can embrace the technology. And that, I think, are the skills that I would have liked to have been taught.
Great. Thank you, Glyn. There's one last part that I had to embrace, and it is all around a change that is brought about, especially if you in the transacting, in the selling and buying world, and all business have to sell somewhere along the line. In fact, I had to sell myself to my wife when I phoned up and say, excuse me, you know, here I am, and make myself all pretty and whatever. I was doing a selling job. So we all have to sell. But the world has changed. McKinsey did an exercise in 2015 where they found a major telephone company, telecommunications company, that they're just not doing business anymore. The buyers have changed. When you look at yourself, when I look at myself, if I'm interested in buying a microwave, I don't go to the store and say, go to the salesperson, please tell me everything about microwaves. I would have done that maybe 30 years ago, but these days I would go to Amazon. I would go to the vendors. I would explore there. I would read reviews. I would get the 10 best microwaves of 2023 or 2024, and I would subscribe to those. It's different, and that's what buyers are doing these days. Students enrolling at the Arab Academy are doing the same. They are doing their homework in a different way. So selling isn't buying anymore. It's all about the consumer is buying, so the roles have changed. It means that if you've got to market, if you've got to engage the market, whether you're selling a program to students, they're learning, anything of that nature, it has changed. How do we make ourselves trustworthy? How can people see that I'm authentic? This is Murray. What you see here, this is it. Who's the real Murray these days? When I look at Facebook, man, Facebook, there is a world out there where everybody is beautiful. And by the way, they all have shots taken from above. Okay, and they go to the most wonderful places. And when their families get together, it's just happiness. Everybody smiles. Man, we've got hassles in our family. We sometimes struggle because there's this guy Murray that doesn't want to do the dishes, and that creates conflict. But I see none of that on Facebook. It is not real. When I go to TV and I see reality TV, is that real? So there is a problem in our current world, and the problem is that what is real? How can I be authentic? How do I know that I want to buy something from Glyn, but how do I know I'm really addressing the real Glyn? Because the pictures that I'm seeing in Facebook and all around, I've got no idea. How do you build trust? If you need to go out there and convince students to come and study your course, or if you're a student and you want an employer to approach you and say, I want to make you a job offer. The world is full of people, full of programs that anybody can enroll to. How do you engage that? You've got to make yourself authentic, the real you, and be trustworthy. And one of the best ways that I've found that I'm working with our team these days, it's a matter of have your name on LinkedIn, get 2,000 people to link with. That is not a presence, because people still don't know who you are. You need to engage, and there's algorithms and there's lots of learning, and I encourage you to go to have a good look at what is the LinkedIn algorithm for this year, what makes a difference. It's meaning that you create stuff that you know that is close to your heart. And when you create stuff that's close to your heart and you put it out there, people can read it. And they, on the first one, they won't buy in. Here's this dude that wrote all about this Murray, how to drop dishes and get out of the job. No. You've got to write over and over again so people form a profile and understanding of you, because the world out there, sorry Murray, they don't know you. They don't know this guy. Don't know that he's a dishes dropper because he doesn't want to do the dishes. But if I regularly post, regularly react. When somebody has posted something, don't just say like or good job. Write something like, I like it because you've approached this problem of dropping your dishes in a very unique way, because you took the high value items and drop them first from a dizzy height to make sure that they made a very shattering sound. Good job. So write about it so people can see Murray is the dishes trasher. And create that, and over time you develop the authentic person that's not the Facebook version, the authentic you, and also it develops automatically familiarity and trust from that audience that is out there, that those 2,000 connections that you have on LinkedIn. I really encourage you to do that. It takes, what does it take? Well, it takes every second or third day, spend 10 minutes. Go through LinkedIn. Once a month, write one article. How do you write an article? ChatGPT. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. What you do is, you start off by saying, I've got an issue. This is my issue, and I've developed this sort of 3 to 5 bullet points that I feel is important about this issue. ChatGPT. Please write me a thought leader article on this topic and write it clear with the following bullets and the closing argument. You get an article, and it starts with, in this modern, competitive, highly driven world, blah, blah, and you can see them on LinkedIn with other guys. Take that part out. The rest of the structure is already there, because when I write an article, just starting, that first paragraph takes me 3 hours. Sorry, I struggle to write. Maybe I'm not an author or anything, but it gives me a structure. I take it all the junk, and I have a structure, and then I can start working and massage. And instead of spending 3 hours on the first paragraph, I spend an hour, and I have an article that really works. And then it's a matter of getting the right graphics with it, and yeah, there we go. So it is possible to read up about something like LinkedIn. Do I say LinkedIn? No. But I think it is a good platform to use, because that is the business platform. I really recommend, especially my students, learn, make yourself visible. It's not one day when I'm working, when I'm in the world of work. Start doing it right now, so that people can learn who this crockery dropping Murray really is. Glyn, do you have any comments on something like that?
How do you follow? I don't drop dishes, but I do believe that LinkedIn should be your authentic self. So not necessarily just trying to reshare and sell your product. See so many people that just constantly reshare whatever came out of the corporate side. Share about or chat about things that aren't necessarily relevant to your business, but things that you care about, that are emotional to you, whether that's charitable work or children's education or youth development or rubbish government policy on how many university students they're going to get out. 2,000 more with 20 million investment, despite us having 274,000 open jobs in the UK. These sorts of things you can post about, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that you're commenting on government policy. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're